to me.
How did all these changes affect your score?
It really didn't, because I'd already written the prologue that didn't make it in the movie for him before going off to do Hellboy. And the end, they just picked up a cue from elsewhere in the film. And I wrote extra music. I knew that I was going to have to disappear to do Hellboy. And so I actually wrote about 10 minutes of extra music for him that was for no scenes in particular, just for him to have plenty to use. And also because I knew that in Russia, in his previous movies, the composer wouldn't necessarily write a piece of music for every scene to picture.
What's really cool about Wanted, it kind of continues this rock and roll, gritty guitar sound that drove The Kingdom, which is more electronic, but it's very much in evidence here.
Well, I think, if anything, it's a counterpoint to The Kingdom, because The Kingdom was it was guitar-based, but it was very melodic, and very, I mean, I was playing with a real kind of, almost a clean kind of guitar, and I mean, I did some distortion on some repeating kind of effects and things like that in The Kingdom, but the main themes for The Kingdom were all very kind of clean, almost bluesy, and Wanted was anything but, clean. It was like really just pulling out the nastiest sounds and trying to keep a very almost I hate to say heavy metal approach, but that was definitely more the tone for Wanted than the kind of more evocative, bluesy kind of melodic guitar that The Kingdom had.
And I believe after Mission Impossible, this is your second train smash-up scene.
Yeah, it seems like train smash-ups. Well, I scored a train smash-up in Spider-Man, so it's my third.
That's the third. I forgot that one.
Yeah, like, we just keep those trains smashing up, Can't have too many train smash-up scores.
Is there a trick to writing for the sound effects of this, or?
No, you just write knowing you're not going to hear any of it. So, but you pretend that you will, because the directors always really think that they will, and so you write as if it will, but secretly deep down inside, I'm not going to hear any of this music. So it's kind of a little depressing writing for that kind of scene, because you really know you're not going to hear anything. You'll hear a few notes, you'll hear some chords come through, but you have to kind of write it as if it really matters. Every action scene I write as if it really matters, and I try to catch everything, even though I know in the end the reality of contemporary films are, you'll catch, in the scene itself, you'll catch maybe 10% of it.
What's really interesting about Wanted is the spotting. The music you hear in parts you didn't expect to hear any music, and then the music drops out in the parts you expect to hear it, like the long slow-motion kiss between Angelina and James McAvoy. It's just a heartbeat. There's no score, and it's like you would, in any other movie, there'd be score there.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk about that. At first I told him I would write something, but then he really wanted a song, and then it's like my time passed and I moved on. And then in the 11th hour, I think he dropped the song and just decided to do what he did. And I never wrote him a piece, because at the time when I left the movie, he was still convinced that it would be a song spot. I'm glad. I think it would have been cornier with the song, and I like the way he played it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, he dropped out music in a lot of odd places and he moved, as I expected, he moved music around a lot too. But that's all cool. I mean, that's really. He's an imaginative director, and I think that is a director's prerogative. I always tell them, if you want to move stuff around, hey, if you could make it work, go for it.
Now, in terms of songs, you do a number called The Little Things, and I think a lot of your fans, your score fans, were fans of yours as the lead singer in the sadly missed Oingo Boingo. Tell me about writing the song for Wanted.
Well, it's a funny story, because they had a song in this scene that they really, really wanted, and then there was a point where they weren't sure they can get it, and so they came to me and said, can you just take this riff, it's like a riff from the movie, and just put a beat to it and see what it's like. I said, all right. So I did for this. Originally it was for a piece of score for the scene where he smacks his so-called buddy with the computer keyboard.
And that's a great segue from score to song.
Well, and it wasn't the song, so I wrote it as a piece of score. but it just had that bass line, which is a bass line I used for that character. And then he listened to it. He goes, "No, no, I think it should be a song." And then, like towards the end, it was like, well, I get a call from Kathy Nelson over at Universal. I said, "Can't you just like try putting a lyric to that, just to see?" I said, "You know that they're not going to use that. They want an anthem or something." And so I put a verse down. I just like, all right, I brought that same piece of score up. You know, I put a guitar on it, and I put one verse. I sent it out there. And Timur called and he said, "No, thank you very much, but I think it needs to be a certain type of a thing." I said, "No problem, you know, just trying to help." Now, it's like way down the line. It's 6 weeks later. I'm finishing Hellboy, and I'm about to leave for London. And I get this call saying, "We changed our mind. We really want you to do the song, but you only have one verse. Can you do a chorus?" And I said, "Oh my God, you know, I'm about to leave, and I'm on another movie." So I pull out my guitar, I write a chorus really quickly, and I send it out. I said, "They're never going to use this, but, you know, look, anything for Timur. Timur wants to hear." So now I'm already in New York. I'm doing the rehearsals for Rabbit and Rogue en route to London to do Hellboy. And I get this call saying, "Timur wants the song in the movie." I said, "I'm gone now. It's too late. What can I do?" So I remember, like, all right, I got to come up with some more lyrics. So I'm sitting in my hotel room in the middle of the night after rehearsing all day on this ballet and like just exhausted, and banging out some lyrics. And I get to London, and they're like, "Can you record some vocals while you're in London?" I said, "Sure, if he really wants me to. I don't know. I mean, are you sure?" And so after like 12 hours of scoring and mixing Hellboy every day, I'd go into a booth and pull out a mic, and I'd try to lay down some vocals. But it was really a bitch because, you know, after being in the studio for 12 or 14 hours is not the easiest to like, all right, now I'm going to like do a vocal. And Kathy brought in Dave Sardi to lay down tracks. I said, "There's nothing I could do about producing or laying down tracks. I'm gone. It's like I'm physically gone. You should have thought of that a month or two ago. I would have been happy to." So he said, "Well, talk with Dave." I talked with Dave, and he's like, "You know, it sounds cool. If you want me to take a crack at it." I said, "Well, take a crack at it, brother. Go for it." So he sent over some tracks to London, and I was like, "Great, okay." We went up and back. I had some suggestions. You know, we replayed a few things, and I said, "I'm good with this." And so over a couple of nights, I laid down vocals, and I sent it in, and to my astonishment, they're going, "It works great. We love it. We love it." So then, here's the clincher. I get another call saying, "Timur really wants you to sing it in Russian."